Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. And there were 5 ACC games this weekend. One of them, a real go ACC moment, Mac. We will get to that. It's very possible that you're a Louisville fan and Louisville let you down.
Yeah.
You're maybe not shocked. Maybe you thought, this could happen. But Ingles will not let you down, Mac. We know that for a fact. If you're tailgating, if you're taking a quick trip to the beach this fall, which is what we just did before basketball season really gets going, Ingles is your spot for your road trip needs, for your tailgating needs, for all that good stuff.
That's right, Casey. No doubt about it. I know the beach trip was super fun. And you mentioned basketball season. You took kind of your last hurrah there before we jump into it. We also have the Asheville Championship, which Ingles, of course, is a major part of. And the Clemson Tigers are playing in that along with Maryland. So you got to go check that out. Go to the AshevilleChampionship.com. Get some tickets. It's right down the street in the hub of the Ingles universe, yes, right there in Asheville. So anyway, before we break down these games, let's hear from our friends really quickly over at Ingles. College basketball is kicking off with the Asheville Championship at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville on November 10th and 12th, featuring my Clemson Tigers, Maryland, Davidson, and UAB. Tickets are on sale now at AshevilleChampionship.com. Save your spot, cheer on your team at the Asheville Championship, November 10th and 12th. Again, that's AshevilleChampionship.com. Get your tickets today.
Mac, let's talk about the ACC team that I would say really stepped up to the plate here, and that's North Carolina. Number 12, North Carolina beat number 25, Miami, 41-31. Honestly, maybe not as close. Miami scored some in that fourth quarter to make it a little closer. Drake May was really good. UNC ran the ball well. Tez Walker, oh my goodness, this guy takes UNC from good to possibly great.
Yeah.
And then, Mac, we saw kind of a continuing theme with Miami and these mistakes. That was a problem for them.
No, it really was. And I think, at first, that first half, it was very uncomfortable. And I thought my Go ACC moment was really going to take over. And I'm just like, oh, man, here we go. This is not going to be a fun postgame show Saturday night. And then the second half, the Heels really responded and were able to make things happen. 4 turnovers for Miami again, 2 fumbles, 2 picks, a lot of penalty yardage for really both teams. North Carolina had 147 yards of penalties. That's crazy that they won the game and weren't affected more because of that, right at 70-ish for Miami. But it was more of the timing of the Miami ones that was pretty brutal for them there. And again, really a tale of 2 halves. Miami played very well, in the first half. Got after Drake May, hit him a bunch. I think they had like 5 sacks, KG, and just were getting after him. 11 tackles for loss as a defense. They looked exceptional. And then North Carolina woke up. North Carolina said, no, we're good. We got this. And, it was interesting because I kind of thought that that's how it would go just because this offense is so good, right? Like when you look at them, they can run it, they can pass it, and eventually you're going to have to choose. Like what do I try to take away? And I will say they kind of, funnily enough, they actually limited the pass okay. It was just some big plays, and Tez Walker, they could not. He went nuts for a hat trick there. And it was like every different way you could think of catching and scoring a touchdown. You saw the speed, you saw the elite route running, great catching, great hands. And then, as you said, Amarian Hampton just went nuts. For nearly 200 yards, a touchdown, just a battering ram. So this North Carolina team continues to just be super impressive. Thought the defense was excellent. And as you mentioned, outside of, really that 14-point fourth quarter, it was a blowout. It didn't even feel close in the second half with Carolina scoring 21, like in a blink of an eye in the third quarter.
The run game was a huge differentiator in this game. Omarion Hampton for North Carolina. Miami couldn't really run the ball. They put a lot of pressure on TVD to make plays, and that's where you get some mistakes. Right. I thought the fumbled snap in the third quarter was a really big turning point too. That's the kind of mistake that you can't happen. Yeah. But Kamen Rucker, who joined us this past week, our guy had 2.5 sacks and 2.5 tackles for a loss. And he talked about with Drake May. He said, look, what makes Drake May so good is that he's so cerebral and he knows what's coming. But the main thing too is he doesn't get rattled. And
Right.
especially in that first half, Miami still did a really good job. I mean, they finished with 5 sacks and 11
Right.
tackles for a loss. They did a good job of getting after Drake May, but it felt like a more mature version, Mac. And you always talked
Hmm.
about this with Drake May last year. Just throw it away.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a crazy play. Just throw it away. And he did that. It felt like he continued to buy UNC possessions. And then when the explosive plays happened, that's when he blew it open. But I thought that was even though Drake's completion percentage was not amazing, part of it is because he was making good decisions by getting rid of the
Right.
ball.
Right. Which that's a part of it, right? It comes with the
Mm-hmm.
territory there. Sometimes it's much more, appealing to try to take a shot, to try to get it to your guy when just get rid of the ball. Let's live to fight another down. Let's just punt. Let's not be in a bad situation. Let our defense stand tall. And, two guys that really just, man, they really jump off the screen every time I watch them. And that's Kamen Rucker from UNC, who, again, as you said, we had on 2.5 sacks, but was just a menace all
Mm-hmm.
game long. I mean, pressures. I wish that we could track that on our app here because he was in the backfield all day. I mean, just absolutely elite. Miami trying to throw everything at him, double teams, chips, running backs, tight ends. It didn't matter. Like, he was affecting the play. He was affecting the timing of the play. And then the other guy, a true freshman, Ruben Bain from
Yeah.
Miami, freaky game. I mean,
Bain.
he's a bad boy. And, I think he's going to be a draft pick, super high, stays healthy. Just a guy to watch out for the rest of his time here. And really, he's just so different, KG, because there's things that show up in his film and how he goes about it. He got a absolute monster sack on Drake in the end zone. Ball comes out, safety, touchdown, whatever it could be. Luckily for North Carolina, a guy picks it up and gets it out of the end zone there. And he's not celebrating. He's not excited.
He's like, this is what I do.
Hands. Well, he's clapping his hands in disappointment that, number one, he didn't get the safety in the end zone. And number two, they didn't get the ball. Like, who does that? Especially a young cat, a young freshman. And then just his emotions after the game. I mean, he was torn up and, just not a loser. He does not like to lose. He's won a lot of football. And I think he's going to be a key foundational piece for this team and where they get, fast forward 3 years, 2.5 years, whatever it is from now. I think we look back and say that was one of the guys that, they built whatever they're going to build upon.
That's a good observation there, Mac. I like where you're coming from there. And we talked about it too with, which team, actually, I think you said it specifically, which team can run the ball in this game, which team can establish the run, help out that quarterback, because both of these D lines, as we're mentioning with Rucker and Bain, have some guys. And so they're going to be able to get to the quarterback. And I just keep going back to what Mac Brown said to us in the offseason. I want the run stopped. Well, that was it. I mean, that was the differentiator here, Mac. And I know, again, Miami scored 31, but 14 of those in the fourth quarter when the game was kind of decided.
Yeah.
The improvement of this defensive unit for North Carolina with a lot of the same players is so impressive. And I think nationally, people are talking about Drake May, maybe even more so because Caleb Williams went through 3 picks at Notre Dame, even though Penix might be the guy at this point. But I really can't get over how much better this defense is. It's kind of mind-blowing.
It's super nice to see, right? Because it's just guys finally buying in. I mean, for years now, we've been calling for it. 2 years ago, I got absolutely tricked and thought these guys were going to be dominant. And now they're starting to play to their level. And guys are doing their part and, just stepping up for their team. And you bring in a couple of pieces, especially in the back end, which, I know they gave up almost 400 yards, but still competitive and making things happen. And, it's fun to see that. Cedric Gray, my gosh, is a war daddy. I mean, that dude is so good. That pick, TVD never even saw him. I mean, he was right there in coverage, kind of lingering the whole time, following his eyes. And Tyler thinks it's an easy, hitch route there wide open and just boom, like a freaking Jaguar. He jumps up and snatches that ball. And so it was a thing of beauty to see there. And 100%. This defense is playing at a very high level, very fun to watch. And I will say this about Tyler Van Dyke, too. I mean, amazing. I mean, threw the ball nearly 50 times,
just the
almost
turnovers.
400 yards, but the turnover bug snuck back up and lost them a football game. So it's an interesting path ahead of them with Clemson coming to town this weekend. What do you want to do? How do you respond? And kind of where are you as a football team? We asked that last week. I think that is another question that we'll talk about on Friday.
And I think it's more of a concern now just because you've done it 2 games in a row. A lot of Miami fans were in our mentions saying, well, the Georgia Tech game was just a fluke, the 3 picks that he threw.
Right.
Now, no one's doubting TVD's talent, but
No.
you got to take care of the ball. And when you look at UNC going forward, Virginia, Georgia Tech, Campbell.
Yeah. Let's roll.
Okay.
Let's go.
Could we see, and Duke, of course, with the one loss to Notre Dame, we're getting to Duke. That Duke UNC game on 11/11, November 11th, is going to be lit.
Yeah. I will say this, though. Right.
Who would have thought?
I will say this, though. Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's true because of last year, and it's in Atlanta.
Last 2 years. They've owned them. So lock in. All right. Let's go. I don't want to. Okay, I see 8 in coverage. Figure it out. Run the football. And that's, I think, the biggest difference, right?
That's the difference.
They couldn't last year.
Exactly.
This year, what do you want to do? How do you want to defend us? They'll line it up and do whatever it takes. So huge kudos to them. Carolina playing as literally the second best team in the league, most consistent. And we talk about their schedule every time, KG, but 5 Power 5 teams.
Yes.
And they have aired all 5 of them out, like beatdowns.
Double digits.
It's very impressive. Very impressive to see what North Carolina's doing.
Yes, 100%, Mac. And UNC, they should continue to roll. We will see with the Georgia Tech, the Nate McCollum revenge game.
Okay, I like that.
Could be a true go ACC moment. Mac, let's talk about this Duke game because you and I both were right. North Carolina covered. I continue to bet against Duke, and I don't know why. I mean,
I don't either.
Look.
Can you apologize to Duke Nation?
Yes,
Can you tell them why you don't like them or something?
Well, look, my mother went to Duke.
I don't get it.
I grew up a Duke fan.
Do we need to bring your mom on the podcast? Is that what we need to
talk through these issues? I apologize. I do. I want to apologize to all Duke fans out there. Duke football, Mike Elko, none of them care that I didn't pick them. So don't worry. I'm very aware of that. But Duke, man, number 17 Duke beats NC State 24-3. This game was an absolute beatdown with a backup quarterback who also threw a pick on the first drive. And you're thinking, oh no, what's going to happen?
I was thinking, oh no.
You were thinking Kelly's right. Kelly's right.
Oh gosh. EJ was with you. EJ was on the NC State team, and we're sitting there, and he just kind of looks at me. I'm like, oh man,
yeah.
This is not good. Because again, part of my Go ACC moment. It was all happening at once, and my brain's just
Louisville
swimming.
Too. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Louisville. We'll talk about you in a second.
Oh God, do we have to?
But my head was just swimming. This is not good. Like this is code red. And then of course defense. Just man, they are so good. And it's electric. I mean, fast, physical, aggressive is the best way to really dial these guys up. They were hitting so hard. I mean, getting after the quarterback, 4 sacks, a mobile guy, but just the way they fly around. And one guy that. We really need to start giving some more love to is Trey Freeman in the middle of this defense at linebacker. All preseason, I was talking about how great the defensive line and secondary were going to be. And I kind of left that middle group out because when you lose a guy like Shaka Hayward and you don't know who's going to step up and who's going to be the guy, but Trey has stepped up. I mean, he is balling, had 15 tackles, in this game, which is absurd. A couple of tackles for loss as well. So flying around, but everybody doing their part. And one more guy, sorry to kind of single people out here. Brandon Johnson, the safety, for Duke is unbelievable. I mean, so not just reactive, because I do think reactive is important because you have to have that ability to see something and then snap to it. But also his film study, how cerebral he is, and his anticipation is nuts. I mean, that showed up a ton against Clemson. And obviously it's a little different because when I'm there, I get to see stuff like that quicker. It was just like that against NC State. He was flying around, making plays and just triggering before the ball's even in the air. And you're like, how the heck did he know that was going there? So very impressive. Coach has these guys dialed in defensively. And then when you don't have your guy, that's kind of what we spoke about on TV a bunch. When you don't have Riley, I just thought the whole team was going to galvanize even more, come together and say, we've got to do this for our guy. And I think that's exactly what we saw, a 360 team effort.
Mac, this is what mature programs do. When you have a backup in there, Beelan the fourth, and he made some big plays, but again, only 4 for 12 for 107 yards.
Hey, listen, when 50% of your passes go for touchdowns, that's a good day.
You're good. 2 tutties. So he did what was needed from him. But I think the difference is when you can go do that without your guy in
Yeah.
Riley,
Yeah.
to me, that means you can go out there and just kind of bully the other team. You
Right.
can be more physical. You
Yeah.
can win the lines of scrimmage and you can run it. And
Yeah.
that's what Duke did. It's
100%.
mind blowing to think sorry, NC State fans, whatever year this is of the Dave Doran era, 10, 11, that Duke is the better program. Not
Right.
team, not
Right.
team,
Yeah.
program in year 2 of Mike Elko.
Yeah.
That's kind of unbelievable. I think NC State fans are very, very frustrated right now, Mac,
Right.
and rightfully so.
No, I don't think there's any question about that either. And it's, you look at why and you look at how, when you say that and what you look at for, especially this season. And this is unfortunate. NC State fans probably agree with me here, but North Carolina State has missed on some transfers. Like they've gone out and gotten some guys that maybe they believed, hey, this certain
Right.
person, whoever it is, not just a QB. I think the last couple of years, you go and get people, bring them in. I don't know what that collective looks like. This is a whole new world where now you're getting money that's being spent to bring and entice guys into. That just hadn't worked, that you've missed. And it's something that stinks. And it's tough because, there's not only investment in time and trying to get guys, but also financial investments. And that's a tough situation. So that's a big deal. The lack of skill players is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
The lack of a run game is crazy. I know they ran for 100 yards, but I mean, listen, Coach
But
Doran
30
and this
carries.
staff, right, is a blue collar dude. I want to go. I want to do this and that. And they aren't that right now, physically running the football. And I think that's tough. 3 yards of rush ain't cutting it, and so then you got a Duke team that's punching you in the mouth with Jordan Waters, 123 yards on the ground with 13 carries. I mean, very impressive. Again, what they've done, how they've done it. Duke football is for real.
They
And
are.
it was kind of one of those things where, I put them on pause. I wasn't going to negatively affect them. Wasn't going to give them any credit without doing it, without seeing with Riley who they are. And I'm cool. Like I'm good with this and the things that they can do. So Friday's going to be fun. I cannot wait to discuss this massive game, Florida State and Duke. And is this what we might see twice?
Ooh. What about North Carolina?
I know.
Yeah,
People
that's why
hate
the
when I
Duke
say
UNC
that.
game again is massive.
Both
And
of
this
them.
game.
Duke's on a playoff run coming up. I mean,
Yes.
that's where they are.
And this game is super important. And
Yeah.
Louisville only has one loss. We'll get to that. But here's the thing, Mac. You talk about Duke with the backup and not Riley. You can beat NC State doing what they
Yeah.
did. You can't
Right.
beat Florida State doing what they did.
Right.
They
No.
need Riley back.
Yeah.
It feels like I saw something in warm-ups where he's still kind of limping.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get the sense? Do you get the sense he's back for Florida State?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought the limp was a little telling. Like maybe not. Maybe not.
It seemed significant. Like he could not play. He was.
I don't think so.
If the world was ending tomorrow, like well, I guess he probably would have played. I don't know. That's quite the drastic comparison.
I'll say this: I think that he wants to play.
Well, yeah, for sure.
I don't think there's any question about that. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I'll say this though: this defense that they're going to face is going to be a big challenge, and I mean, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a war in Tallahassee.
Okay, I have two quick questions about NC State. Do you consider going back to Brennan? And does NC State make a bowl?
Let me pull up the schedule first of all.
I got you. They have 4 wins.
Yeah.
Their remaining games are Clemson at home.
They're good. They're good. I see Wake and Virginia Tech. We're good.
They have to beat Wake and Virginia Tech, though. And Virginia Tech at home, Mac. This game's in Lane Stadium. Virginia Tech's playing a lot better.
They are.
I'm not super confident. Do you consider going back to Brennan?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either because you need to look ahead. You need to look towards the future.
It's the receivers. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily quarterback.
Okay.
And I love what MJ said as well about how we've got to make a decision as a team. What do we want to be? How do we want to finish this year? And I think that's a big deal for a young guy to say that. And again, hopefully you can rally your team. Listen, Duke is a great team, and you're playing another great team in a couple of weeks, and then another great team after that with Clemson and Miami. So it is decision time. What do we want to be? Who do we want to be? What can we make of this season where we are right now? I think that's, very important.
It is. All right, let's get to Louisville. Then we'll talk about the blowouts quickly with Florida State and Virginia Tech that rolled. Louisville gets embarrassed at Pittsburgh. We should have seen this coming, Mac. Is this our first season covering ACC football? Like, we should have seen this coming. Pitt beats Louisville 38-21. Now, okay, Jawar Jordan gets hurt basically right at the beginning.
Not
of the game.
good.
That was huge because Pitt could basically just tee off on Louisville. They knew they didn't have a run game. They were coming after Plummer, force him to make mistakes. But still, on the flip side, Pitt scored 38 points.
I know.
And Veyer looked a lot better than the previous option. They ran the ball better. Do you put this more on Pitt or Louisville?
We're partners. Too good of partners. I was literally, when you were done, I was going to ask you, who are you more mad at? Pittsburgh or Louisville?
It's annoying if you're Pitt. Like, why did you have to suck for 6 weeks? You know what I mean?
It's annoying if you're us because we had to talk about this. We had to look dumb saying how great we thought Pitt was going to be, and then they stink it up.
And why did you stick with Jerkovic for so long?
And they get this stupid base where they just throw complaints in. And then it was in the post game. Everybody's with the base. Like, it's so cool. I hate the vase. But if it works, keep using it. It ticked me off. I feel like Coach Rick right now. This is my beak. Pittsburgh, to this point, this game is my beak of the year. Because it's like, what are you doing? Why did it take this moment to then embarrass the ACC and beat Louisville, who, we're putting on this pedestal and 14th in the country, all these different things. And it's like, man, nope, see you later. Drop 7 back. So it's so confusing. But from the non-ACC perspective, college football is amazing. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it's crazy. You never know.
For a team to obliterate Notre Dame, to then lose to Pittsburgh, who is horrible at this point, to then the team that they just beat, blowout number whatever, USC. It's like, it is a crazy paradox, and you just never know. So from that aspect, it is fun. From the Louisville side, it was a little bit getting exposed because I think it was some of maybe the complacency creeping in. I don't know. Yeah. It was weird. And you and I danced around it because we're like, why is this game so close? What does Vegas know? Like,
Vegas knows.
They might have known about the Jawar Jordan thing. That must have been it because obviously that's it. I don't know how. They have a crystal ball. But that's a huge thing. That's a huge deal. And obviously really, like you said, handicapped. And they threw the ball 52 times.
Well, and it was raining too. So when you don't have Jawar Jordan and it's that kind of weather, that's going to be an issue. But Louisville had 15 more first downs. They outgained Pitt by a bunch, but they had 3 turnovers.
Right.
That's what it's going to be. And Pitt did not turn the ball over. Give them credit for that.
Yeah. So, go ACC.
It's awesome. Classic. It's classic. Can Pitt turn themselves around? We'll see.
Yeah. Who knows?
It's not too late.
Let me pull up Pitt's schedule real quick here. They've got at Wake Forest. What do they have left? At Notre Dame, Florida State. So, yummy. Syracuse, Boston College, at Duke. So who knows?
They're going to have to beat Wake, Syracuse, BC, and then somehow beat Duke. Make a bowl. Or
here's another deal. How much implications are they going to put on, or variables are they going to put on the ACC championship game? Already beating Louisville, who we thought maybe could get there, playing Florida State, playing Duke. Who knows? This might be a very interesting ending for the ACC as a whole.
Pitt's just out here trying to ruin lives.
Just out here ruining lives. Coach Narduzzi loves that. He loves that.
I respect it. Yeah, Narduzzi's happy about it. Okay, speaking of great teams though, Florida State just destroys Syracuse. I mean, kills them 41-3. Schrader got food poisoning on Friday, so they didn't put him back in like after the third quarter. Did you see that?
I was looking for that. I didn't hear that. I was looking for it. And I couldn't find anything.
Dino said he had food poisoning on Friday. I don't know where they ate in Tallahassee,
Yikes.
But that didn't really matter. Florida State was just too good. Keon Coleman. Oh my goodness. Dude is an absolute freak.
He is a freak.
That is how you use the portal. If you're anybody, go find a guy like Keon Coleman.
Who specifically?
Anybody, Mac. Anybody.
He's so good.
Just a general,
just a general comment.
General statement.
That's right. That catch that he had over the middle.
Oh my gosh.
One hand snag. I mean, just crazy. And then a couple plays later, the beautiful kind of fade touchdown there. The punt returns. I mean, the guy had 240 something yards of total offense. Hadn't been done since Peter Warwick. just really freaky the way he plays the game. And, just again, a great balanced attack from Florida State. It was great to see JT kind of ripping it downfield, had 280 something yards there. And again, the running attack close to 200. So it's not these crazy gaudy numbers that maybe we thought we would see from this offense, but it is very balanced, very kind of, what do you want to do? How do you want to stop us? And again, I think this team's getting better. And I think that we haven't seen the best version of them yet. Friday's going to be interesting.
Agree with
Friday's
that.
going to be fun. Friday's going to be fun.
JT needs to stop having these little injury scares because it is stressing me out. But he seems to be okay.
Yeah, I don't like
and
those.
I like how Mike Norvell said after the game, we have to be better. I like how they're not happy, with what they're doing.
You had a couple of really key drops. I mean, your running backs and tight ends.
You
had
still
some
haven't
really
played your best game, like you said.
Yeah, and maybe even some weird penalties. I think just kind of uncharacteristic. Had 50 yards of penalties. So it's there, and they're acknowledging it, which is exciting. And again, just how much better can this team be? Because truly, it does feel like I know a lot of people are saying, Georgia and Michigan look better than anybody in the country. I don't know if I'm buying that. I really don't, especially with old Bowers hurt now. I mean, he's the guy for Georgia. You take him away, I don't know. That's not a great offense. And then Michigan hadn't played anybody. So let's see.
Big Ten is
we'll
so
see.
bad. Let's all be honest with ourselves. Good Lord.
Well, when you play Indiana and Purdue all the time, it's not.
I saw a stat say Iowa won a football game with 37 passing yards.
Wow. How many punting yards did they
Big
have?
Ten.
They probably had quadruple punting yards.
It's so, never mind. Okay. Last game, Mac. And stop me if you've heard this before. Because I have said this in October. I said it about Georgia Tech. I said it about our friends at Boston College. And I'm going to say it again. Virginia Tech's making a bowl.
Everybody's going bowling.
Everybody's
6-6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They beat Wake Forest 30-13. Kyron Drones has another really, really good game. We know against Florida State he struggled, but he was just excellent. Yeah. And I think more importantly for Virginia Tech in this game, the defense, and specifically the rush defense, which had been obliterated by a lot of different teams, held Wake to basically nothing. They forced Wake to bench Mitch Griffiths. That Wake's got a lot of issues figuring out what's going on there. But Virginia Tech continues to be really good at home. And Kyron Drones continues to emerge as, I think he's the guy.
Right. Well, and that's important. Two things you just said. Number one, obviously, far and away, number one, your quarterback developing and turning into a guy. 380-something yards total, 2 touchdowns. Very important, right, for that guy to be confident and for that guy to be good and the eligibility that he has left. But the second piece is winning at home, winning for those fans, rewarding those fans because they are so good each and every year and show up and show out. I think the other thing you mentioned, stopping the run, that's now 2 games in a row against Pittsburgh, or not in a row, but 2 games against Pittsburgh and against a Wake Forest that it's been electric, and they've shut it down. And they have also gotten after the quarterback. 7
FSU, they got
sacks.
killed. But
yeah, that's why I was like, who they play? Oh, it was FSU.
We're seeing steps in the right direction.
Yards.
Yeah.
So when you're not playing a playoff team, you're doing awesome. You're doing so well. My guy APR there, transfer from Florida, 4 sacks. Just went off. I mean, was unblockable all night long. So great to see that. Great to see development. And again, it's building blocks. It's figuring this thing out.
Yeah.
It's being able to get
rebuild.
Going. 100%. And still actively is. I mean, they're getting pieces. You got Syracuse, at Louisville, at Boston College, NC State, at Virginia. So find a way. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
They're going to beat Syracuse at home. They're going to beat NC State at home. And then they're going to beat Virginia, and they're going to go bowling.
Okay.
You heard it here first, Hokie fans. Probably not first. But I'm just out here guaranteeing bowl games. That's what I do, Mac. And I'll be here. I'll be here all week.
I'm proud of it.
Those were our 5 games this weekend. Truly,
how do we do? How do we do picking? Tell the people.
You did better than me. I know you're shocked. So you went
4-1, I think.
You went 4-1, and I went 3-2 because I picked against Duke. You know what? The way I'm going this year, I'll take 3-2 at this time.
3-2's not bad.
Mac is killing. Mac, you are now 33-20 against the spread.
Great number. That's my basketball number. Love that.
Go to Vegas now.
I'm going. I'm on the way. I'm out of here.
Get on the plane.
Let's go, KG. This was fun. Fun weekend, small weekend, but fun and very impactful. And that's what we're going to get moving forward. I mean, there are some great games. The ACC, man, has done an unbelievable job of positioning themselves to have very meaningful football.
Yeah, meaningful football games.
At the end of October and November here. And, man, bowl season is going to be fun. KG's promising the entire league is going. So we're excited about that. Everybody,
not Wake Forest.
Oh, excuse me,
not Pitt.
Wake. Okay. Okay, there's two. Wait, well,
honestly,
maybe Pitt. Maybe Pitt.
not NC State. That's where I am at this time.
All
and
right,
probably not Syracuse. Well, Syracuse.
Now we're just tearing hearts out. We were doing well. Now we're just hurting people's feelings.
Sorry, everybody.
Anyway, it's going to be fun. A lot of fun stuff that's happening. A lot more heartbreak on the way. I am kind of predicting this. It's not going to be good, but can't wait. We're going to have a massive episode on Wednesday, kind of helping us preview a big game this weekend. I've only alluded to it 100 times so far this episode. We'll let y'all figure that out. It'll be a little bit surprised. And then Friday, of course, jumping back into these games. Another smaller weekend, but like I said, impactful games throughout really the rest of the way. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining us. Big shout out to our sponsors over at Ingles, our partner there. And of course, we need you guys. We need your help. We need you over here. We need you on YouTube. We need you to subscribe, leave some comments, come join this party. We have too much fun. And of course, the OGs over on Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe there. We'd greatly appreciate it. But until next time, we'll see y'all.